Hi everyone, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Caleb Franklin, who is the founder of HeyHey Global, which is a platform that empowers the world's top talent to deliver easy, fun, and memorable experiences for their fans at scale. Hi Caleb, welcome to ELI.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. Really excited for this.
I would request you to introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Well, hi guys. I'm Caleb Franklin, CEO and founder of HeyHey. I have spent the last 12 years of my life living in India, and I think the last few decades of my life just interested in learning about India. But I am from Los Angeles, California.
Okay.
I've always been a huge fan of film and entertainment, and of course that means Bollywood. And I started my career actually working at a very large media and entertainment company in Los Angeles called Creative Artist Agency, CAA, which is really all about working with celebrities. So everyone from Will Smith, Andre Agassi, Steven Spielberg, Justin Bieber. And I helped build that business out in the Middle East. And then in my last stint there, I opened up our business in India, working with people like Priyanka Chopra and Ranbir Kapoor, who just got married.
Right.
Woo, woo. And so I'm a lover of all things celebrity and talent. And for me, HeyHey was really about just bringing joy to people. And people love Bollywood. People love cricket. How could we connect those people closer to their fans? That was the goal. And it's been a fun journey so far.
Awesome. Tell us about HeyHey, what it is about, and if it is a platform, how does it work?
Yeah. So HeyHey is all about fun, man. When we first thought about the company, everyone made fun of us because we called it HeyHey, which is not sort of your typical tech platform name. But the point of it for us was, look, we want to be able to connect somebody to their favorite person on earth and get that person to do something for them.
Okay.
It started out with things like a shout out. So you could go and get Govinda to do a birthday request for your aunt. It would be customized. And so you could say, hey, this is my aunt. This is her name. She's turning 55. She's a huge fan of yours. Her dog's name is Peppy. Can you include that all in the birthday wish? And you would get that. And what amazed me about the product was that you could really, really deliver somebody something that they could never have had access to before. And we could do it all through a technology platform. We were, of course, inspired by companies in the West. So there's a platform in the US named Cameo that does this. And so we very quickly set out to see how we could deploy it across India. We also launched in Japan as well. But it's been a great ride so far. We've got 2,500 celebrities on the platform. We do a minimum of 100 requests every month, and it's just so great to see like the smiles on people's face when they get these videos. So yeah.
Curious to know what would be the technical stack behind it, because the way I see it, although onboarding celebrities is one thing, but when you have on-demand requests, for example, let's say somebody is asking to get a shout out from Priyanka Chopra, then you need to have Priyanka Chopra installed a mobile app which would give her a notification that somebody is requesting for shout out. How does it work? Can you tell us on a technical level?
Absolutely. Yeah. On the technical level, I mean, basically our core system, which is all, built on Ruby on Rails, is basically how we did it, because to your point, we needed a consumer facing platform marketplace that then fed into an app that talent and celebrities would have on their phone. To your point, that would ping them for notifications, that would allow them to record the video once they received the request. And then once they sent the video, it also needed to send money to them super fast. And like, if you think about why our business matters to talent, like today, 77% of all artists in the world make the majority of their money from brand deals, right? And so if you could be in a world where you could create a new revenue stream, and for us uniquely from a tech stack platform situation, how can we do it in a way that when you sent that shout out, we could pay you within 4 hours? And that was the technological challenge. And especially in a place like India, making sure that our GST, making sure that our accounting is there. So back to the tech stack, we have our platform marketplace that feeds out into a talent facing app. And then that app allows us to notify, get the talent to book. And then once they book, we're actually able to pay them instantaneously. And we're working with several payment providers to do that. But that's basically the sort of core workflow that we work on.
Mhm. Uh, Also, speaking from a business point of view, I think at the end of the day, it's a customer who pays us. So, is it good enough money that customer pays us so that we can pay back to the celebrity? Is the ticket size good enough, or if you can give us a perspective on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, the unique thing about us is we don't set any of the prices for the celebrities, right?
Uh-huh.
So when celebrities come onto our platform, they set their own price.
Okay.
And remember, most celebrities at a very, very high end level, Shah Rukh Khan is probably not going to be on Hey Hey, as much as I love him.
Okay.
Our platform delivers usually three things. One is love, power, money,
Mm,
right? So if you're a celebrity that has an abundance of love already, you probably don't need Hey Hey. If you already have abundance of power, or what I like to say, fame,
mm,
you probably sit outside of our barriers. And then also, if you're sitting on crores and crores of money, like doing shout outs doesn't move the needle so much for you. But
mm,
what you'll find is that the significant majority of people who are talent and celebrities and sports stars, they don't mind it, right? And
okay.
so if you look at the average price point of a shout out on Hey Hey, it's about 2,000 rupees.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we take 25%, the celebrity keeps 75%. Um, but, you know, for them, it's so easy and you get paid so fast that they don't mind just sitting on a Sunday and just recording 3 or 4 at a time and just getting it in. But more importantly than the money, I'll be honest with you, what the talent tells us is they've never had a way to do this for their fans before, right? Like
Uh-huh.
you'll find that that first pillar I talked about, love, like to be able to have somebody who follows you, who cares about your career, and you get to do something really special for them,
Mm,
that's priceless, right? These are all artists, these are all creative people. So for them, that's what gets them excited. And by the way, we do have some people on the platform who are at like 12 lakhs, right? All the way down to people who are at 500 rupees. So, it just all depends. But once again, from a business perspective, because it's being facilitated through technology and not through like a human being and a broker, it's scalable in that way.
I went through the website and I understand there is a NFT component to the platform. So can you explain that bit to us? How does it work or what is it about?
Dude, we are so excited about what we're doing in the NFT world, and we haven't officially announced it yet. So, I will divulge as much as I can.
Sure.
But if you think about, right, like you mentioned, what our sort of goal is, our vision statement. Our vision statement is really allowing some of the most amazing people in the world to connect with their fans, do it at
Mm,
scale, and do it in a customized way. We, about 9 months ago, started to understand that NFTs and Web3 allowed us to do this even more powerfully than what we could be doing with our current tech stack. And
mm-hmm.
so, myself, my product managers, my engineers, we went out and we actually built our own proprietary smart contract.
Okay.
And basically, what we are doing now, and we'll soon release our first one next week,
Mm-hmm.
is doing major NFT collections on behalf of the celebrities on Hey Hey. And
Okay.
so what that means is that whereas earlier, if you think about our platform, if you're a celebrity or a talent, we're putting products around you that you can monetize your audience with. So you have your
Mm,
shout outs. We have a product called Hey Sign where people can get an autograph from you. But now you have this NFT.
mm,
And the way that our NFT smart contract works is that it allows for infinite customization. So earlier you could only do a shout out or a hey sign, but now with an NFT, we can mint things in there like go skydiving, go out to dinner, be in a Bollywood movie. These are all types of real world utilities that we can now put into these NFTs. And then once we have those, we actually mint those and drop those directly to fans. And our first drop will be on OpenSea Rarible, but we're soon going to be launching our own marketplace, which I think we're really fun and excited about.
Okay. Now coming to the end customer side. So can you tell us how building a cool tech platform is cool and onboarding celebrities? I think that is your expertise. You have been doing this for a long time. But how do you onboard customers? How do they discover about the platform and how do they come to the platform?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that was, I would say, probably one of our biggest challenges at first, right? Like to your point, we've been in this business for the last 15 years. So the supply side, the talent was not the hard part, but how do you meaningfully engage, build a funnel, and also get people to convert was something that I think we had challenges with. I think it's something we still have challenges with. It's something that we're refining. Obviously we started with the typical playbook of Facebook, Google ads,
Hmm.
social media. And, we've actually been able to build, I would say, a strong social media audience. I'd like for it to be a lot more. But what we most importantly observed is that there is a flywheel aspect of this business. And what I mean by that is the most in the most sort of prolific way for us to get users and people onto our platform is actually the celebrities themselves, right? So if you look at the combined reach of the 2,500 plus artists on HeyHey today, you're well into the billion of sort of reach of people globally. And so instead of just going out and throwing money, down the proverbial digital marketing drain with Google and Facebook,
Hmm.
why wouldn't we just get our celebrities to tweet, talk about, hey, come to HeyHey, book a shout out with them, share that shout out with their fans, with people. And when we saw that, what we noticed was that people who really loved that celebrity were excited to see them doing something cool and innovative. They
Hmm.
would then book. Once they got their shout out, they would share it with their friends. Once their friends saw it, then it would go back to stuff. And so it's like what we're
Yeah.
kind of doing is, not traditional digital user marketing. It's really now, how do we continue to build this flywheel between the celebrity, the customer, and the platform? And I think, NFTs are going to give us a really cool way to do that even more. But yeah, users for us have been best generated through the celebrities themselves.
I think it's an amazing growth hack that you have been doing. Um, Now, I think almost all the product companies are concerned about product market fit, where they are in the product market fitment curve. And almost 99% of the platforms are behind that curve. Only 1% make it to the other side. So, can you tell us where you are as a product company or as a platform from the acceptability from market or fitment with the
Yeah,
market?
I mean, dude, this is every entrepreneur. I'd like to, because we're here to sort of give entrepreneurs sort of the real deal, the real
Yeah,
truth.
yeah.
I think you're right. Like as a someone who's building a platform, your goal is to sprint and to iterate and to pivot to get to product market fit
Mm,
as fast as possible. In terms of our own platform, I do believe that the celebrity shout out business has not yet hit its product market fit at scale for, let's say, the Indian audience, right? And I don't think it's necessarily the products and the platforms that are out there. I think it's just sort of the Indian cultural dynamic,
mm,
right? And so when you're looking at somebody who has, at scale, probably 1,000, 3,000 rupees discretionary income per month, is the first thing they're going to line up to buy a shout out. And I think, we've iterated and tried to create products at a lower price point. So we have a product that's at 50 rupees. Um, but I think that two things that we've noticed in the last sort of 8 months doing this is, one, I think people who have the discretionary income who try this love it.
Mm.
But ultimately, the feedback that we get is that people kind of want to own something because this money means so much to them. And that's where I believe the NFT product suite and platform will actually be able to deliver a lot of the things that we love about sort of the shout out and the competition features of our platform, but do it in a way that like there's something that someone owns at the end of the day. They have that NFT that's giving them real world utility, that's giving them access to community, that's spitting off a lot of value.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I don't I don't see why someone would shell out, 10 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 5,000 rupees, in demonstrable numbers outside of that. So that's really why we are leaning heavily into what we can be doing and what we are doing with NFTs. That's number one. And I think number two is, um, while it's coming, and we do believe that you are going to have a world where hundreds of millions of people will be using these as great gifting
Mm.
for their friends and their family. As an entrepreneur, you don't have the time to wait, right? So you have to pivot and you have to kind of understand, speak to the users, and figure out what do they want. And so, I think that we are getting very close. I would not say by any means and shape and form that we're at the 1% of people. We're not at the Misho, Baiju level yet, but we're iterating and we've got great investors that are behind us to make sure that we get there. But yeah, to answer your question directly, I think the celebrity commerce business in India is still very nascent, which
Mm.
points to a huge opportunity. But it's going to be different than what it is in the US. And that's kind of exciting, right? Like how it looks and how it feels is going to not be a cut and paste of Cameo. And we're excited to kind of be charging at that opportunity.
Uh, what is the scale component in your business? The way I see it, I think let's say Priyanka Chopra is wishing someone happy birthday. I think that is you know every time there is a new request, Priyanka Chopra has to come and wish him or her happy birthday. So there is no skill part of it. If I were to do it, I would say Priyanka Chopra wishing someone named John happy birthday, John. I think that video will be used 1,000 times whenever there is a new John coming onto the platform. That is scale for me. So how have you approached the scale part of it?
Well, I think you're right. I think the scale comes in two forms, right? Like, number one is that, yes, we all know Priyanka Chopra, John Abraham, uh, uh, Ajay Devgan, but there are literally millions and millions of influencers and creators in this country
Right,
alone.
right.
We're sort of taking this thing, right? So yes, Priyanka Chopra is not going to be able to do like 2,000 of these in a day, but there are literally 2,500 people who could benefit from doing this 10 times a day. And so I think individual vendors, individual celebrities being empowered by the tools is one aspect of scale.
Mm-hmm,
But the second aspect is, how do we continue to find customization, personalization,
mm-hmm,
without requiring the celebrity or the talent or the brand to do something physically? And I think that's where NFTs get really cool, right?
yeah.
And so if I'm in a world where that, to your point, happy birthday, John,
Mm,
becomes a slick NFT that gets some art behind it, that gets you into a few VIP events for Priyanka around the country, and
mm,
you're selling 10,000 of them,
mm,
that gets really exciting. And, we should have done this probably a week later because I would love to tell you what's happening on this Bollywood celebrity NFT launch that we're doing. I've been pretty surprised by two things. One is we were sold out of the NFTs before we even announced them.
mm.
Number one. Number two is the demand for it is huge. So I just think it's like, once again, and as an entrepreneur, you're kind of running and hitting your head against the wall to kind of figure out what users want. And then you kind of find it, and it's like so amazing. So next week, you and I, we're going to talk about it, but it's, I think NFTs have unlocked further scalability for us beyond what we could be doing in Web2.
Okay. Uh, the next question is around challenges. So tell us about what are the different challenges, big challenges that you have faced so far while building and growing this venture.
Yeah, no, I would say three big challenges. Like I was with HeyHey worked with a company called Coinbase, who just did their launch
Hmm.
in India a week ago. And we're partnering with them on some cool stuff around Web3 applications. But in that session, Brian Armstrong, who's the CEO of Coinbase, talked about like he never felt that he would be the right type of CEO because he's very, very tech. He's an engineering background. He was an engineer at Airbnb until he realized that there is a CEO version in all of us, right? And so like I happen to come from a non-technical background. There's a lot of founders that come from a technical background. There's founders that come from marketing backgrounds. So there's CEOs in all of us. And I think the first challenge that most non-technical or any type of CEO will face is like, how do you scale and build fast the capabilities that you may not naturally possess, right? And for me, that was around like, how do we build a culture and a workflow of shipping things fast. And that required me to really kind of upskill myself in terms of tech. And so I would say our first big challenge was that. And then obviously the last year has probably been the most competitive time on earth for engineering talent. And so, bless you, bless you. As you are like looking to hire technology talent and you're competing against, like Google, and you're competing against startups, all around the world. And I know, by the way, that you're a huge enthusiast around work from home.
Right.
But work from home now means that like the tech pool that we have is being now hired by people all over the world. And I love that. It just means that like you need to be really, really smart in defining your vision, what your company is doing, and also providing value to people to come on board to help you build out your product. So I would say that was challenge number one. I think challenge number two really centered around, how we were going to think disruptively about the space, right? And so when we first got in the business, we were probably one of two companies doing this. And then in the span of like 3 months, there were like 8 people doing it.
Hmm.
And that can be a bit disarming.
Right.
What we saw was a lot of our competitors were going out and just paying money to celebrities to onboard into the platform,
Hmm.
which we always kind of felt was like a short-term fix, right? Like ultimately, the same money that you could be spending on that celebrity, you could be spending to make your product better, so that it's a natural thing that they see the value of you. And so I think the challenge that we faced was that decision on whether or not to really invest in the product or just invest in, bringing on talent as fast as possible by paying them. And I think we chose to do the former. And I think that's probably why today there's really no one in our space that are doing things like we're doing, especially when you start thinking about smart contracts and Web3.
Hmm.
And so I think that was a big challenge, right? We had meaningful celebrities who were like, look, man, we're happy to come on board. Just put a crore in my bank account. And I'm like, I think I should be spending that on the product.
Right.
So yeah, that was another challenge.
Any pivots that you have done to the
Oh
overall
my God.
business model?
Oh my God. I'm pivoting all the time, brother. I think when we started, we were at shout outs, then we moved to competitions. Then we thought about what could we be doing around raffles. Um, and then, now we're building out the NFT capabilities. The great thing about HeyHey though, is that as we're pivoting and trying out new things,
Hmm.
uh, they can stay in the product stack, right? Celebrities can still use them, find them, right? So today, if I'm building out an NFT that has all these cool features, I can still use a shout out function in that, right? Like they can still actually put a shout out into the NFT and use our tech stack for that.
Hmm.
But I think, man, we pivot all the time. And I think you have to, like you have to test, you have to ship, and then you have to get data and change. And I think we've gotten much better at that over time. In the beginning, we were really slow, like super slow. And like we had this team meeting where we all got together and we're like, we're going to commit to one thing.
Hmm.
Fast is as slow as we go, right? It's like our model. And when you live by that sort of learning, it just changes the way you think.
Right.
By the way, sometimes you can move too fast, but you rather move too fast than be too slow.
Well, due to I had many more questions around the venture, but due to time constraint, I am just limiting to two more questions. Tell us,
Sure.
as an entrepreneur, what do you think is the meaning of entrepreneurship for you? How would you define the term entrepreneur?
I think I think the actual experience of an entrepreneur is just really wow. I think about this a lot, but I really feel that it's about learning so quickly new things all the time, and then applying that to your own business. I have been in professional life for 15 years before doing this, and I can tell you I've learned more in 1 year being an entrepreneur than I have in like 5 years being a professional. And that just comes because every day you are finding new challenges, things you didn't expect, hurdles you didn't see. Uh, and that can be really good because you have a lot of really, really good days, and you have some days that are like really, really tough. But I think entrepreneurship is probably like the most rewarding experience that I've had, to learn, to be challenged, and to get beat up, frankly, a lot. But I will tell you, this is not a path for the weak. You have to be
Mhm.
really, really strong to do this. But it's very rewarding.
And the final question, what are the lessons that you have learned as an entrepreneur, which we can take away?
Mm, definitely. Tell the truth and nothing more. Mm, Something Jeff Bezos lives by. I like to live by it too. I think we often can let our marketing get above or in front of our product.
Hmm.
And so be hyper honest, right? Like it's in hyper honesty, both when you're talking to investors, you're talking to users, you're talking to vendors. Just be very honest about what's going on. And when you begin to live in a world of just reliance on the truth,
Hmm.
you begin to actually be able to address it and change faster. So that's number one. And then I would say the second thing is just to be, really, really focused on holding to your word and holding to your promises, right? Like we often are in this sort of cannonball run to build companies very fast. And I think in a lot of ways, people get into that and they're willing to, you know, do things that may fool investors or fool users. Long term, that doesn't ultimately work. And so I would just say, I know there's so much pressure uh, for people to really just super hack growth and find cool ways to do things very, very fast. But those shouldn't be done at the expense of sort of right business practices and ethics. This is a long run and a long race. And so, I would encourage people to think about it that way as well.
Well, thanks for your time, Caleb. It was a great pleasure to host you and honor as well. I would say my best wishes for Hey Hey Global.
Thank you so much. I'm sending you a shout out.
Thank you.
Cool, man.
Cool.
Chat soon.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.